Thank you. I am the co-host now. Good evening, Malika. I don't know why my photo is looking the other way around. Anything I can do to straighten that up? I don't know what to do. Maybe I will turn this. Okay. Is it okay now?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay? Yeah, right. So today's topic is on personality, and we have introduction to personality, theories of personality in Unit 10, and theories of personality part 2. So today we will do the first part, that is the introduction of personality, and to some extent we will cover the theories of personality, and then tomorrow we can complete the rest of it. Right. So let us understand what the personality is all about. Personality has been studied in different ways by different psychologists. While some have developed broad theories to explain the origins and making up a personality, others have focused only on one or two issues, such as the influences of heredity. Morgan 1993 classified broad theories into four categories, namely type, trait theories, dynamic theories, learning and behavioral theories, and humanistic theories. While the first category focuses on personal characteristics, the second one focuses on the process by which needs, motivation, and impulses often are hidden, right, and interact to produce individuals' behavior. Similarly, learning and behavioral theories, which explain behavior in terms of learning, and humanistic theories that emphasize on the importance of people's subjective attitude, feelings, and beliefs, especially with regard to self, and different theories are discussed in this block. Okay. So now, as I told you before, the objective is to analyze, understand the definition of the personality, analyze the nature of personality, and describe the individual differences in personality. Okay. So to learn personality, which is used in various senses and used to refer to the general and consistent characteristics of a person's behavior. But in social psychology, the term personality indicates neither the external or outward pattern, nor does it indicate the internal quality. It means an integrated whole, which means to say when we are talking about personality, we're just not talking about the external factors. We are also talking about the internal factors, the kind of person is, the qualities of the person, right? So when you combine these two, we call it as an integrated pattern. It is indicated toward internal quality. It means the integrated whole knowledge of people's personality allows psychologists to predict the future behavior in a wide range of situations. An understanding of personality enables a psychologist to deal with the subject in a realistic manner. The study of personality deals with the issue of human individuality. It has attracted the attention of a common man as well as academic psychologists. The term persona was used to indicate the actions of the individual. In the modern world, and psychology, it has come to indicate the sum total of an individual characteristics and qualities. Various thinkers, social psychologists, and others have defined personality in various ways. Okay. For your information, I am on unit number 9, Introduction to Personality. Okay. As a human being, each one of us appears to have certain specific patterns of thinking, feeling, and acting, right? This is coming from the internal world. They represent who we are and provide the basis of our interaction with other individuals. In everyday life, we often find people who call aggressive, jolly, happy. Like this is the kind of labeling we give. If you have more interactions with people, who appear to be very cheerful, very happy, and very jolly, so we term them as it's a jolly personality. This person is a very happy, cheerful personality. And similarly, if the person is very angry and he doesn't talk to anybody and all the time is stressed and worried and showing tension, then we call this person as an aggressive personality, right? So this is just a common usage of this language. Now, these impressions of the people which we carry with us and use while interacting with them, it is in this sense that we frequently employ the word personality. So the word personality is used in this context in a very common way when we interacting with people and we find them, having certain qualities that are dominant in them, right? Like positive or negative. That also we can say this person is a very positive personality or very negative personality. So the personality concern information is used in choosing people for various purposes like jobs, giving guidance to people in need of psychological help, and mapping their potential. Thus, the study of personality contributes in different areas of human behavior. This unit will help us understand the different aspects of personality. Okay, so let's move on to the meaning and definition of personality. What is the meaning and definition? The term personality is coming from the Latin word meaning persona, meaning mask. In the plays of the ancient Greece and Romans, actors used to wear masks to indicate whether they were funny or miserable characters. Unlike a mask that one can either put on or take off. However, the personality implies something stable. All of us must have come across the term personality. Many of us must have used this term quite often. The term personality is very commonly employed in advertisement or when people issue certificates or testimonial to others, like when they give you a conduct certificate, right? That time they tell what kind of personality you are, or if they give a testimony about this person, right? Or they certify this person in different contexts. Okay, in all these concepts, it may seem that the term used to describe the behavior of a person in general terms. For example, when somebody is described as having a pleasant personality, this means that on most of the occasion, the person is very pleasant, right? And that's how we term them as pleasant personality. Similarly, like people who are irritable personality, right? We term them vice versa. So therefore, the term personality is used to refer to the general and consistent characteristics of a person's behavior. It is a total and overall descriptive of a person. We may therefore discuss definition of the term personality that refers to being organized, consistent, and a general pattern of behavior. Like if you're terming a person, for example, just as you said above, if you're terming this person as a very disciplined person, means what makes us say that this person is a disciplined person? There are certain qualities of this person. This person may be very well organized, and this person may be consistent in their activities. Like they may have a regular schedule, they may get up at one particular time, go to bed at one particular time, and everything is so well organized. So there is a pattern in the person that all the time this person behaves in this particular way and is very consistent with the behavior, right? So that time we say, okay, this is a disciplined personality. Similarly, pleasant personality or in. Now, definition. There are different definitions. To understanding the selected definition is more adequate. If we compare it with the other definition, the concept of personality has been defined by the psychologists in many ways, in theoretical perspectives or position, which direct their attention to a particular aspect of personality. So we have one definition here by Child, 1968 to 83, defined personality as more or less stable internal factors that make one's person's behavior consistent from time to time and different from the behavior of other people would manifest in a comparable situation. Like when you compare this person with the other, you can see all these qualities that are just getting manifested in this person. Now, another author, according to Lundberg and others, the term personality refers to the habits, attitudes, and other social traits that are characteristics of a given individual behavior. And there is another definition by Lawrence Pinto Pevin. He says personality represents those structural and dynamic properties of an individual or individuals as they reflect themselves in the characteristic response to situations. This is the working definition of a personality given by Lawrence A. Pevin. Let us see what Gordon Allport has to say. He defined personality as a dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determines his character, behavior, and thought. Right. And then we come to Heinsohn, 1953. Okay, the definition of a personality stresses upon the concept of the organization and also of the judgment of the individual to the environment. He defines personality as more or less stable, enduring organization or a person's character, temperament, intellect, physics, which determines his unique adjustment to the environment. Okay. Now there is Cattell from 1950 who has given the definition of a personality as that which permits a prediction of what the person will do in a given situation. The goal of the psychological research in personality is thus to establish laws what different people will do in different kinds of social and general environmental situation. Personality is concerned with all the behaviors of the individual, both overt and under the skin. Right? According to K. Young, personality is a patterned body of habits, traits, attitudes, and ideas of an individual, as these are organized externally into roles and statutes, and as they relate internally to the motivation, goals, and various aspects of selfhood. Okay, so these are all the definition of the personality, right? More or less, almost everybody is saying personality is mainly the kind of traits a person has, the kind of way the person organizes himself or herself, and the way the person is motivated to reach his or her goal. Because what the person manifests externally is coming from inside, from within. The self-motivation comes from within. So the intrinsic factors contributing to the personality. Okay. Now, what is the nature of personality? I am at 9.3. In psychology, the term personality is used to mean a hypothetical construct or an agency which explains the integration of different behavioral processes resulting in meaningful behavior in such a way so as to make one person different from others. The term personality, therefore, explains both generality and individuality in behavior. As discussed above, some of the definitions and approaches contribute to the emergence of certain generalization regarding the meaning of the term personality. These relate to the nature of the personality. Now they are given us different points. As we keep moving on, it's very easy to understand. Personality as a descriptive concept. Using the layman term, personality describes the response of the behavior of the person. Adjectives like pleasant, honest, sociable, etc. are employed along with the term of personality to describe the behavior of the person. In use of this term, we may see the following implications are involved. Okay. The term personality is sometimes used to describe the effect a person has on others. Thus, when one describes a man as a pleasant person, one experiences the pleasantness of him or her, right? What is involved here is the effect that the man has on the person who is describing him, right? So it's a very, very simple example. So it need not be pleasant. It can also be affectionate. It can also be lovable. It can also be approachable, right? When you tell a person is approachable, a person is lovable, what they're saying is when you are in the company of the person, you can feel that sense of love, or you can feel that person is, right? The effect of the personality that person has on the people who are with them, right? On the other hand, when one describes a man as having a sociable personality, one is describing behavior and his response. Okay, this I don't think I need to explain. It is very simple to understand. In many instances, term personality is used to evaluative sense. When you describe a person as an honest or a good person, one is passing a judgment on person's behavior with reference to certain standards or norms of the behavior. So it not only can be this person is very honest, we can also say this person has integrity. I can trust this person. This person is credible. Now, this is all based on the experiences of the person who has been credible, who has been authentic, who has been honest. Okay. It may seem that in all the instances, the term personality is used as a descriptive or evaluative term, but it is not always used in such a way in modern psychology. Now they are given as a characteristics of personality. Let us see what are the characteristics of the personality, which is given here. Right? They are given us in a row 5, and then we have also the sum. So the personality is something which is unique in each individual. Why is it unique? Because every person is unique. So no two persons can be same. The experience will be different. The background will be different. The culture will be different. So all this makes each and every person, including you and me, as unique person. That's why we can say personality is something that is unique to each individual. Next, personality refers particularly to persistent qualities of an individual. What is this persistent qualities? That means this person's qualities that are always present. It is not there for a season, like only sometimes, only they're always carrying on that quality no matter what happens in their life. It's a kind of a permanent quality. Like some people can be calm in all situations. No matter there will be so much of noises going around, but this person will remain calm, right? So that is called, a personality that is permanent, right? So personality, but a persistent quality. That is, sorry, it is called the persistent quality. Next, personality represents dynamic orientation of the organism to the environment. The process of learning, it takes place in reference to environment. We do not acquire all the traits all at once, right? Gradually, as we keep moving on, as we keep experiencing in his life, we absorb so many things that is happening. We make choices every day. And over a period of time, we develop certain traits. Okay. Next, personality is greatly influenced by social interaction, meaning to say, we acquire certain qualities while we exhibit certain to others, right? All these come to form the personality, right? Whenever we are interacting with somebody else, when we are in touch with somebody else and we are talking, discussing, right? We absorb some things and we also learn from others how to interact in a society, how to interact, what is the normal norm to have a healthy social interaction. And number 5 says, personality represents a unique organization of persistent dynamic and social predisposition. In personalities, various qualities are not put together. They are in fact integrated into one. The integration is nothing but a result of organization which may have come from different man to man. The behavior of a person directed to one particular individual may differ from the behavior of another person. That is why we put the condition of suitable environment. The suitability is concerned with the individual specificity. Other than this, some of the points on which general agreement has been reached about the nature of a personality are mentioned below, right? So you can see there are 7 points here, I think, or more than 7, yeah, 7 points, and each of it is reflecting the personality as a structural and functional component, personality of an individual as a totality and not divisible into units or parts. The formation of individual's personality is influenced by number of factors like hereditary, constitutional factors, social and cultural factors, and specific experiences. Childhood experiences play an important role in determining the role formation of personality. The personality of an individual can be described and measured. The personality of an individual has certain characteristics which he shares with others, and at the same time, certain other characteristics which are unique to him or her. Personality is dynamic, it influences the behavior of the individual, and the personality of the individual to a large extent remains stable. But this does not mean that change is that does not mean it is unchanging. While remaining stable, it is always possible that the personality can change and grow. However, under certain conditions, the personality of individual may stop growing also. Okay, so what you see the personality of the person at one particular stage of life or one particular age, no, will keep on evolving based on the kind of experiences this person has in life. Sometimes they can even stop growing. That too, again, depending on the kind of experiences this person has, right? So now we move to 9.4 and we talk about concept of individual differences. Am I audible, ma? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll just try and see if I can change a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, now it's fine. Right. So now we talk about the individual differences is a cornerstone subject in the modern psychology. In many ways, it is classic psychology that general public refers to the psychology of the person. The psychological differences between people and their similarities. Plato stated this 2000 years ago. No two persons are born exactly alike, but each differ from the other in natural endowments, one being suited for one occupation and one for the other. This I don't think we need to explain because it is very obvious that even if you come from the same family, even if they are twins, the personality will be different because it will be based on that particular person's experiences, the traits that person carry, that which is genetically determined, hereditary, and also the experiences that we have. Individual different psychology examines how people are similar and how they differ in their thinking, feeling, and behavior. No two people are alike, yet no people are unlike. So the study of individual differences, we try to understand in ways in which people are psychologically similar and particularly what psychological characteristics vary between people. In Western psychology, approach to individual difference generally assume that people vary on a range of psychological attributes. Okay. Anyway, this is all very simple to even read and understand. So we keep moving. So some studies focusing on individual differences. Okay, so there are some studies conducted, right? Franz Gale invented the phrenology in the early 1800s. It is a study of an individual bumps on the skull which supposed to reveal character traits and mental abilities. By 1832, there were 29 phrenological societies in Britain and many journals in both UK and US devoted to study phrenology. It was seriously proposed to select members of the parliament from their bumps. Some phrenologists even molded children's head to accentuate good qualities and minimize bad ones. Despite the theory being incorrect, one of its assumptions holds true. The idea that various brain regions have particular functions. Yeah. So Darwin suggested that the nature selects successful traits through the survival of the fittest. His cousin S. Francis Galton concluded that he could apply the principle scientifically. Why not measure human traits and then selectively breed superior people? He assumed human traits, everything from height and beauty to intelligence and ability to personality traits such as even-temperedness were inherited. Okay. So modern psychology has formalized the study of individual differences over the last 100 years. Individual difference in psychology is still young science and is a relatively recent development in modern psychology. Okay, so there is an integration and organization of these various processes which gives total meaning to the behavior of the person. Further, the pattern of the organization extends across situation with the result that every person behaves with certain degree of consistency and the same time behaves in a manner different from others. We may therefore say that even though we may study individual processes like perception, learning, these alone individually or taken together cannot help us to understand, interpret, or predict the behavior of a person. This organization gives a sense of individuality or uniqueness to the person's behavior. Since there are multiple controversial viewpoints, it is necessary to move beyond reliance on personally preferred viewpoints and to embrace alternative perspectives, particularly those which utilize in the psychological practice and which are solid research. Personality consists of all the constant ways in which the behavior of one person differs from the other, especially in social situation. I think as we keep reading, it's all in a very simple languages. All that they are wanting to say is that every person is unique, every person is different, and our personality is determined not just by our hereditary characters or physical features of how you look, but a lot more, especially which is also determined by the kind of environment that we live in and also determined by the kind of culture, customs, everything that we practice, the environment on the whole, and the society that we live in. That is what is this whole thing they are talking about. Okay. So when you're free, you read up. It's very simple to understand. Now, what are the factors influencing personality? Monica, you'd like to read? We are at 9.5.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please read. The development of personality, 9.5.
Um, the development of personality of an individual takes place in a socio-cultural context. The particular potentialities with which a child is born may develop or become stunted depending on the way maturation takes place and the kind of experiences encountered by the person. It has been said earlier that the personality of an individual develops as the person grows. Even though the development of personality is influenced strongly by childhood years, the growth of personality is completed much later. The development of personality indicates that as a person grows and develops, the unique and individual components of personality unfold themselves and find expression. As an individual grows and develops, the personality begins to take its shape, resulting in greater organization, stability, and consistency of behavior.
Yeah.
Factors
When we talk
influencing
about,
personality.
yes, when we talk about lifespan development, we see there are different stages. The child develops itself into maturation, right? Similarly, it is just not the physical form, but it is also dependent on other factors like the environment and the social factors, right? So we have now broadly 4 factors that influences personality. What are they? They are
Biological factors, environmental factors, cultural factors, psychological factors.
yeah. Now biological
Biological.
factors. Yeah.
It has been said that personality development begins at birth. If the definition of personality that emphasizes adjustment to environment is agreed, then one cannot believe that personality development begins before birth. The biological factors are biogenic by nature and include those of heredity, endocrine glands, psychic and physical condition, nervous system, etc. A brief description of these is given below.
Okay. So given below, you find detailed explanation of what is hereditary, right? You don't even need an explanation. You understand what is hereditary.
Yes,
Those
ma'am.
characteristics, those things, traits that comes with the genes, right? It is running in the family. So that is what is hereditary. And when we are talking about the physics, it is a biological makeup, inabilities of individual resulting from both genetic and environmental influence, which is reactive potentiality. Since ancient period, it has been accepted that physics affects our personality. Kretschmer and Sheldon are credited for the contribution predicting general personality and behavior patterns basis on the mere physics, right? Physics is very obvious. Endocrine glands are characterized interaction and interdependence. So these glands secrete hormones. Any overactivity or underactivity of these glands cause increase or decrease in hormones, resulting in personality. Endocrine gland is a gland which is here placed near the neck, and it's a very important gland, right? Which produces very important hormones. And one of the important hormone that it produces is called the thyroxine. So where the overactive thyroid, like if that gland is producing more of these hormones, thyroxine hormones, then they have this, what they call as hyperthyroidism, where the
Yes, ma'am.
symptom is the person is getting thinner, the person feels, her blood pressure is low, weak, immunity is low and all that. And if there is no production of the hormones, it is called the hypothyroidism, right? Here they have put thyroid gland secrete thyroxine. I'm on the next page. Yeah. And any excess of the hormone leads to tension and unstableness, whereas if the deficiency takes one level to umbilical level. Parathyroid, the gland is responsible for calcium equilibrium in the body. Overactivity of the gland causes irritation, emotional stability, etc. Then there is pituitary gland, which secretes serotonin, which controls other glands of the body. The excess of these hormones, causes aeromegaly, whereas the deficiency causes midget. Adrenal, this gland secretes cortin and adrenaline. Cortin deficiency results in increased fatigability, anemia, loss of appetite, while adrenaline discharge in times of great emotional stress. Gonads. This gland secretes testosterone and androgen, and that are responsible for the growth of male sex organs, and estrogen and progesterone in the female promote sexual maturity. Nervous system. Two influences personality development, and mental ability, sensory motor skill are also determined by the nervous system. The autonomic nervous system and the central nervous system are responsible for the personality of the development. So all this come under what? All this is coming under biological factors, right? When you take all this. The next one is the environmental factors. What are the environmental factors? Right? These are biological factors, and these are environmental factors that which affects the environment. First environment that we grow in is the home. The second environment is a school. So as you keep socializing, as you start going to school, as you start leaning away from being at home and you being the center of the universe, suddenly you get detached because you will have to move towards the next level of your growth process, right? So they are given here all examples of, sibling rivalry, jealousy, and all, right? At home, we have all these issues. If there are more than one children, like the parent will be trying to give the best to both, right? And in the process, one may feel rejected, one may feel accepted, one may feel loved, one may feel unloved, one may feel partial, one may feel that you're discriminating, right? So in the process, there will be jealousy, there will be sibling rivalry, all that. So that is what they're talking about. Then when they come to schools, it is all about the friends, the peer influences that they have. All along, they will listen to whatever the parents have been saying, but now they are in the school. So they develop more friendships, and these friendships starts influencing them because they are coming from various backgrounds. And when people from different backgrounds come together, when they play in the games and they study together, right, they start talking to, so consciously or unconsciously, they start influencing one another, right? That influences the person. Maturation and personality influenced by maturation. Maturation improves coordination of numerous relationships. Maturation provides raw material for learning and determines to a large extent more general patterns and sequence of a child behavior. Early experience, personality is influenced by early experiences. If one person suffered bitter experience, he is often subjected to undue thwarting at the early stage of life. Regress interest from outer to inner space and becomes self-centered. Okay, this is just an example that they can. So early experiences are very important. Early experiences, if they are positive, like early experiences, if you have been nurtured, affirmed by the people surrounding you, who are encouraged and motivated, it's a different kind of a personality altogether. But if the opposite of it happens in the early stages, if you are constantly put down, constantly criticized, the child is not allowed to express, then what happens? The child represses all the emotion, the regression, and then they develop into a different kind of a personality because they will not be able to trust others, right? And they think that all the elders are the same, like this. Success and failures also play a key role in the determination of personality. This influences one's adjustment and self-concept. Success motivates the individual for more attempts and success in future. It heightens one's level of aspiration and makes individual about abilities where failure leads to the development of negative traits, inferiority, feeling low, aspiration, escape, and blame, etc. Cultural factors. Right? People living in one culture often share similar practices, beliefs, and values. The child is expected to learn and behave in a manner that is expected in the culture. For instance, boys and girls are expected to show different sets of personality characteristics. The various occupational roles are shaped by culture, right? That's how we have the stereotype. Like all men, all women are expected to learn cooking. All women are expected to dress modestly, to be soft. Their laughter should not be heard. And they have to, ensure that they are very modest. And they have to learn all the household chores, all this. These are stereotypes set rules by the culture. And on the other hand, the boys will not be taught, they'll not be entertained in the kitchen, will not be allowed to express their feelings. Right? Even that is not bad because they are also human. They too have a heart and they too can express, but they are not allowed to express. This is also part of the culture, right? It's part of the stereotyping, it is called, where you get the certain types of things done by women, certain types of only women. It also comes from the beliefs that, women are good for only 1, 2, 3, 4, and men are good for only 3. It worked at one particular time when women stayed at home and men went to work. But now when both are working, the dynamics is changing. So material and not material culture affects personality of the individual. An individual in his or her culture adopts a condition, characteristics, regulation by default, either consciously or unconsciously accordingly. The culture of the society determines the behavior and the personality of the individual. Psychological factors. They play a big role in the functioning of the human behavior and developments of one's personality. They're given A, B, C, D, E. First is the motives, acquired interest, character, attitude, and intellectual capacities. Right? So these are the psychological um, factors that play a big role in the functioning of the human behavior. Right? To conclude, we can say that psychological factors are affected by hereditary and environment. Hereditary supplies the raw material and culture supplies the design. While a family in the craftsman, because it is the parents who carry the culture of the society to the child. Thus, hereditary and environment both play a very important role in the development of the personality of the individual. Okay. So we come to the end of unit 9 and you can see the summary here, right? It's very simple. Everything is very simple to understand. I don't think you should have a problem. So there is check your progress, there is model system, there is glossary. So now we move on to unit 10. Right. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now, what are the theories of the personalities we have in this unit 10? Right. So we have trait theories, Allport trait theories, big five personality, evaluating the approach to personality, types of theories, that is type A and type B personalities, traits versus type approaches, psychoanalytical theory, structure of the personality, stages of development, anxiety and defense mechanism, then Skinner's theory, personality structure, personality development. Okay. So the unit focuses on the concept of the trait as a building blocks of personality, discusses the type to approach the personality, describe the psychoanalytic approach to personality, and discuss the behavior approach to personality. Okay, so now here we'll understand theories. We are talking about theories of personality. So even before we talk about the theories of personality, what do you mean by theory, right? What is our understanding of the theory? Okay, so in a simple way they are given here, they are a set of abstract concepts, right, about a group of facts or events, explain them. A theory plays an important role in the growth of any discipline and psychology, and personality is no exception. Theory consists both of empirical facts and systematically related assumptions. Theory generally further research is relatively unexplored areas. At the same time, it facilitates prediction with a scope for verification. Okay. In the previous unit, we discussed the term personality deriving from the Latin word persona, which refers to mask used by actors and play. It refers to the outward experiences. The public face we display to the people around. Based on this, we might conclude that personality refers to our external and visible characteristics, those aspects of that other people can see. But when psychologists talk of personality, they mean to include enduring and unique characteristics of individual that goes beyond superficial physical qualities. The most frequently used definition of personality was given by Gordon Allport. He defined personality as a dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determine the uniqueness adjustment to this environment. For the present purpose, we can think of personality as a sum total of unique and enduring internal external aspects of a person's character that influence behavior in different situations. A theory of personality is organized system of beliefs, right? That helps us to understand human nature. Many of the personality theories resemble philosophical investigation. Science is an offspring of philosophy. As science developed, it provided new knowledge, tools, and methods of self-understanding and improvement. The scientific theories of personality not only have origin in philosophy, but also lead to some form of art or practical application. The individual's common and unique experiences interact with inherited potential, shape, and personality. Okay. So in this unit, we discussed trait and the type approaches to personality. Similarly, some of the important theories will be presented in this unit. Theories include Allport trait theory, Big Five theory, psychoanalytic theory of Freud, and Skinner's theory. Okay, so we begin from trait theories. You want to read Monica, Allport's trait theory? You want to read, Ma? Allport's trait theory? Okay. Okay, so we move on. When personality psychologist Gordon Allport systematically referred an unabridged dictionary in the 1930s, he came up with some 18,000 separate terms that could be used to describe personality. Although he was able to reduce the list to mere 4,500 descriptions after eliminating words with the same meaning, he was left with a problem crucial to all trait approaches. Which of the traits are most basic? Right? Allport eventually answered this question by suggesting that there are three fundamental categories of the traits: the cardinal, central, and the secondary. A cardinal trait is a single characteristic that directs most of person's activities. Most people, however, do not develop the single comprehensive cardinal trait. Instead, they possess a handful of central traits that make up the core of personality. Central traits such as honesty and sociability are an individual's major characteristics. They usually number from 5 to 10 in any one person. Finally, secondary traits are characteristics that affect the behavior in fewer situations and are less influential than the central or the cardinal ones. Okay, so this is all about a Allport trait theory. Big Five personality theory. For the last 2 decades, the most influential trait approach contends that the 5 traits of factor called the Big Five lie at the core of the personality. Using modern factor statistical statistical techniques, a host of researchers have identified similar set of 5 factors that underlie personality. The 5 basic dimensions of personality that are often readily apparent in others' behavior include agreeableness, emotional stability, extraversion, conscientiousness, and openness to experience. You see all those explained in a very simple terminology just below that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is agreeableness? A tendency to be kind, gentle, cooperative, and trusting. What is emotional stability? Tendency to be calm, secure, and not depressed and moody. Extraversion, a tendency to be sociable, active, and assertive. Conscientiousness, be responsible, dependable, and achievement oriented. Openness to experience, the tendency to be imaginative, artistically sensitive, intellect. The Big Five emerge consistently across a number of domains of different population of individuals, including children, college students, older adults, and the speaker of different languages. Cross-cultural research conducted in areas ranging from Europe to Middle East to Africa also has been supportive. A growing consensus exists that the Big Five represent the best description of our personality traits we have today. Still, the debate over the specific number and the kinds of traits and even the usefulness of the trait approach in general is a lively one. Evaluating the trait approaches to personality. Trait approach have several virtues. They provide clear, straightforward explanation of people's behavior consistencies. Further, trait allows us to readily compare one person with the other. Because of these advantages, trait approaches to personality have had an important influence on the development of several useful personality measures. However, trait approaches also have some drawbacks. For example, we have seen that various trait theories describe personality come to very different conclusions about which traits are most fundamental and descriptive. The difficulty in determining which of the theories is the most accurate had led some personality psychologists to question the validity of the trait conception of personality in general. Okay, so this is all about evaluating the traits approaches to personality. Let us move on to the type of theories. One of the earliest personality theories attempted to classify individuals into personality types on the basis of the body build, right, is the type theory. A short, plump person, endomorph, was said to be sociable, relaxed, and even-tempered. A tall, thin person, ectomorph, was characterized as restrained, self-conscious, and fond of solitude, a heavy-set muscular individual. Mesomorph was described as noisy, careless, and fond of physical activity. Although a person's physique may well have some influence on personality, the relationship is much more subtle than this sort of classification implies. And research has shown little correlation between body build and specific personality characteristics. Personality type theories have also been based on purely psychological characters. One of the Freud's people, the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, divided all personalities into introverts and extroverts. The introvert said to withdraw into himself, particularly at the time of emotional stress and conflict. He tends to be shy and prefers to walk alone. The introvert may take to public speaking platform to support some movement in which he is strongly committed. But even then, he is impelled from within. The extrovert under stress seeks company of others. Life is likely to be very sociable, a half fellow well met, and tends to choose occupation that permits him to deal directly with people, such as sales or promotional work. You've probably known a typical introvert or a typical extrovert, but it is likely that most of our friends fall somewhere between the two extremes. This is one of the major problems of type theories. Most typologies, whether they are based on physical or psychological characters, involve a continuing of the individual differences rather than discrete type. Type theories are appealing because they provide simple way of looking at personality, but actuality, personality is far more complex. Okay, so we move on to 10. 3.1, type A and type B personalities. Okay, what are this type A and type B personality? There are some people who are excessively competitive and always seem to experiencing chronic stress, sense of time emergency. Such individuals have been labeled as type A personality. Individuals with type A personality are probable candidates for heart trouble. Type A individuals are described as being competitive, striving for achievement, having a sense of urgency about time, and being aggressive and impatient. Type B individuals have the opposite characteristics and they are much less likely to develop coronary diseases. The following are some of the characteristics of the individual with type A and B. Type A people are those perfect people. They prefer to do things rapidly, feel impatient with the rate which most even take place, try to think or do or more things simultaneously, cannot cope with leisure time, and are obsessed with numbers, measuring their success in terms of quantity rather than quality. And the opposite of them are the type B personality. They never suffer from a sense of time urgency, feel no need to display or discuss either their achievement or accomplishment unless such exposure is demanded by the situation. Work hard only when there are deadlines and play for fun and relaxation, never exhibit their superiority. There have been research interests in determining how such behavior develops. It has been the tendency to develop type A or type B pattern of behavior is based on part of it on hereditary. An individual who is predisposed to being type A would probably not develop the style. However, unless he or she was born into a society which encourages and rewards competition and achievement. Perhaps this is one of the reasons that nations where there is stress in the material success tend to have higher death rates attributed to stress-related disease such as heart failure and high blood pressure. In a number of ways, type A individuals are observed to behave differently than type B. Type A people operate under moderate to high level of stress. They subject themselves to much more or less continuous time pressure, creating deadlines for themselves. They are fast and work hard. They empathize quantity over quality. Individuals with type B personalities do work hard when there are deadlines and emphasize quality over quantity. In the managerial position, type A's demonstrated their competitiveness by working long hours and makes poor decision because they make them too fast. Type A's are rarely creative because of their concern with quantity and speed. They rely on past experiences when faced with problems. They will not allocate the time that is necessary to develop unique solutions to new problems. They rarely vary their responses, hence the behavior is easier to predict than that of type B's. Trait V type approaches. A trait represents each of the position on a number of continuous dimensions to a scale describes a personality. While type theory tries to sort people into types into trait theory, assume trait as its base. Thus, we could rate individual on a scale of intelligence, emotional stability, aggressiveness, creativeness, or any number of other dimensions. A trait then offers refer to any characteristics in which one individual differs from another in a relatively permanent and consistent way. Psychologists working in the area of trait theory are concerned with determining the basic traits that provide a meaningful description of a personality and finding some ways to measure. So you feel here in a given in a diagrammatic representation the 5 trait dimensions and some other components. You see the trait dimension given on one side and the descriptive adjective pairs on the other side. A trait dimension is extroversion. The description given here: talkative, silent, open, secretive, adventurous, and cautious. Agreeableness, good nature, irritable, gentle, headstrong, cooperative, and negative. So for each of it, they are given the positive aspect as well as the negative. Conscientiousness, tidy, careless, responsible, undependable, persevering, and putting. Emotional stability, calm. On the other side, anxious, poised, nervous, not hypochondriacal, hypochondriacal. Culture, artistically sensitive, artistically insensitive. Refined, boorish, intellect, and underactive. One approach uses factor analysis. Factor analysis is a complex statistical technique for reducing a large number of measures to a smaller number of independent dimensions. With this technique, 700 test responses might be reduced to a few underlying dimensions of factors that account for all the response data. The above mentioned list was found in one of the study of this kind. Factor analysis appears to provide fairly straightforward way of arriving at meaningful group of basic traits. But unfortunately, because of difference in statistical techniques and in the type of data selected for analysis, a factor for analysis, a factor found in one study may not show up in other. While some investigations have found 5 factors that they believe to be basic dimension of personalities. Others have discovered as many as 20. Okay, so from here we move to the next personality theory. Are you okay? Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Or should we, can I move on or shall I go to the next? Shall we continue tomorrow? Because tomorrow there is only one unit and that is the personality theory type 2, right? So let it get over fast only. We just have Freud and Rogers, okay? And do you want me to continue this or shall we continue tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am. Continue.
Continue. Okay, so Freud's psychoanalytic theory. Sigmund Freud. Monica, you want to read?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sigmund Freud, an Austrian physician, has developed a monumental and a revolutionary theory called psychoanalysis. This is the first of the psychological therapies, and its terminology has crept into our modern vocabulary. In this theory, he has constructed and described personality development. A psychodynamic theory relates personality to the interplay of conflicting forces within the individual, including some that the individual may not consciously recognize. That is, we are being pushed and pulled by internal forces that we do not fully understand. According to Freud's theory, the adult personality emerges as a composite of early childhood experience based on how these experiences are consciously and unconsciously processed within human developmental stages, and how these experiences shape the personality. Not every person completes the necessary tasks of every developmental stage. When they don't, the results can be mental condition requiring psychoanalysis to achieve proper functioning. Freud believed that there were 3 levels of consciousness. First is the unconscious mind, which exists outside of our awareness at all times. Next is the pre-conscious mind, which includes all information that you are not currently aware of but that can be recalled. Finally, the conscious mind is our current state of awareness. Freud described 2 types of instincts. Life instincts are one motivational drive described by Freud. Freud also uses the term libido or sexual energy for life instincts. Life instincts serve the purpose of survival and encourage growth, development, and creativity. Freud considers all pleasurable acts as life instincts. Death instincts are another type of motivational drive described by Freud. Death instincts account for our aggressive tendencies. Freud believed that managing this aggression is a major challenge of human nature.
Okay. So here basically what Freud is saying, our childhood experiences shape the personality of the person. That's what he's saying, right? See, we have seen lifespan, the development of children as they move from one stage to another stage, right? And in between something happens, so they are not able to function optimally, right? Maybe the child suddenly was a very vibrant child, happy, and suddenly becomes quiet, or or some problem like that. So where psychoanalysis comes, or sometimes this happens even when the person is at adolescent stage. Some of the childhood experiences starts traumatizing this person, or starts coming up to the surface. And he talks about this 3 levels of consciousness. Yeah. First level is what is the first level called? The unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is what which exists outside the awareness at all times, right? It is totally unconscious. You are not aware of it at all. It's like the tip of the iceberg. Like, a lot of unconscious is lying right down, right? The next one is the pre-conscious, which includes information that you are currently aware of. And the last one is the conscious mind. That is, you are totally aware of what is happening. And then he also talks about two instincts you and I carry all the time. One is the life instincts, another one is the death instinct. What is this life instinct around? It's a motivational drive, right? He uses the term libido or sexual energy for life instinct, right? Life instincts serve the purpose of survival and encourage growth and development and creativity, right? And the death instincts are motivational drive described before for aggressive tendency. So he talks about this conscious, unconscious, pre-conscious, and conscious, and then he talks about the life instincts and the death instinct that are present in all of us. And then, according to Freud, what is the structure of personality? Our personality develops from interaction among what he proposed to the three fundamental structures of the human mind, right? And what are the fundamental structure according to Freud? You look at this in the last paragraph. It is id, ego, and superego, right? It is on the second line. Conflicts among these three structures are efforts to balance among what each of these desires determines how we behave the approach of the world. What balance we strike in any given situation determines how we will resolve the conflict between the two overarching behavioral tendencies, our biological aggression, our pleasure-seeking drives versus our socialized internal control over those drives. The job of the ego is to balance the aggressive pleasure-seeking drive of the id with the moral control of the superego. Remember the cartoon you used to watch as a child? The main character is confronted with a choice. On his left shoulders, a little devil is pushing him towards a bad choice. On the right side, the little angel is encouraging to make a good choice. He's stuck in the middle and forced to make a decision that will affect him. The scenario is much the Freud's theory of personality. There are three parts to the personality according to Sigmund Freud. Freud's psychoanalytic theory are id, superego, and ego. Id is all the raw personality, like, which operates right at the bottom. Okay, all our needs, our basic needs, the pleasure driving activities, no, that is the id, right? Ego, we know it is from the conscious, and superego is something that will help us to decide whether we should go for it or not. Like how they say there is a right and a left angel, and when decision is coming to make, whichever one we use, we are influenced by that particular. So here they are given again detailed explanation. The id is the first to develop, the ego is the second, and the superego is the last to develop. The id is the biological component of personality, including your instinct. The id operates in our unconscious mind. It is like the little devil sitting in the cartoon characters of the shoulder, and that is always selfish and needy. It operates according to the pleasure principle. The pleasure principle is that idea all your needs should be met immediately. Like a child, if they are crying for something and they are so adamant, they want means they want, something like that. That is their instinct drive. Then there is superego. The superego exists in all three levels of consciousness. It's like the little angel and is always concerned with what is socially acceptable. The superego pushes you into the ego ideal or view what is right. It also represents the conscious or your view of what is considered to be wrong. Finally, we have the ego. The ego operates in your pre-conscious and conscious minds. The ego is a part of the personality and makes your decision. This is like the cartoon character, for example. The ego in the middle makes the decision and faces the consequences. The ego operates according to the reality principle. The reality principle is the idea that the desires of the id must be satisfied in a method that is both socially appropriate and realistic. The id must mediate for the demands of the id and superego and the reality. Then we move to the stages of development. Freud believed that the childhood experience influences later adult functioning. Human beings are born in a physically and emotionally immature state. We are therefore dependent on others and have to go through a developmental process. Freud emphasized and described 5 stages of this development, and he calls it oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. Now let us see what are all these 5 stages about. The oral stage is between the birth, the time the baby is born till 1 year. Okay, so what is that stage focusing on? It's pleasure giving activity. The child likes to suck milk from the mother, right? The pleasure derived from the activities is sexual, and we need to remember that word. Sexual here refers more to sensual pleasure and not everyday use of the word. You may have a baby nursing at the breast and notice the pleasure it derives from sucking the milk from the mother, right? The next one is the anal stage. It is in the age group of 1 to 3-year-old. After the first year, Freud said that the focus of the pleasure shifts to the anal satisfaction. Now comes the process of elimination and retention of feces. During this stage, the last stage of third, the toilet training is an important aspect. You see how the child starts growing, start becoming to already the caretakers start giving them the training to go to the toilet. So toilet training happens in that particular stage. The third stage is the phallic stage. What is the phallic stage? It is between the age of 3 to 5. The focus of pleasure shifts to the genital organ. Children became aware of their own gender differences, not automatically, but also social expectations as regards to male and female. Then comes the latency stage. This is from the age group of 5 to 12 years old. They start becoming interested in other people. They develop social and intellectual relationships, right? School friendship, peer pressure, all this. The last stage is the stage, that is the adolescent to adulthood. The focus of the sex drive moves from the individual's own body as a source of satisfaction to seeking a relationship with others involving mutual gratification. The person now turns from the earlier selfish absorption to sense of caring and responsibility towards others. This is an important stage in the social development. So these are the 5 stages of development according to Freud: oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. You go through it once again and you'll be able to understand. The next is 10.4. I think we will continue tomorrow. We continue tomorrow, we'll be able to complete it. Right? It is on defense mechanism, right? After the defense mechanism is over, we move to the personality theory part 2. It won't be a problem. So thank you very much. And God bless you. Have a nice weekend. See you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye.